Welcome to Tune My Heart. Yes, that's Toon as in cartoon, because in this podcast we'll be taking a closer look at popular animated movies through a Christian lens, in search of faith-relevant themes and traces of eternal truth. I'm your host, Tracy Harold, and just a disclaimer, I'm not a Bible scholar, nor am I a film scholar. I'm just an animation fan who loves Jesus, and who wants to explore how the themes and ideas presented in some of my favorite films might resonate with the Christian faith and help remind us of what we believe, in sometimes surprising ways. So I hope you'll join me as we get animated about our faith. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Tune My Heart First Impressions, where Darcy and I talk about our first impressions of a new animated movie that we have seen recently. Today, we're going to be talking about the newest film from Illumination, the studio that brought you films such as Despicable Me, The Secret Life of Pets, and Sing. Coming out at the very tail end of 2023, a year filled with lots of exciting new animated movies, Migration understandably flew under a lot of people's radar. Compared to many of Illumination's other films, and especially to the other Illumination film that came out in 2023, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, its box office wasn't that impressive. But if you're looking for a fun family movie with some of the prettiest animation that Illumination has ever put out, Migration is definitely worth checking out. But before we get further into my opinion on it, let's hear what Darcy has to say. So Darcy, what did you think of Migration?
I thought it was cool and kind of inspiring about having a vacation at somewhere really cool, has really beautiful birds.
What was your favorite part?
When I saw Jamaica, it was really pretty.
Does it make you want to go to Jamaica?
Actually, it does.
Yeah. What was your favorite character?
My favorite character was, I think her name was Gwen.
The little one?
Yeah, the little duck, yeah.
What did you like about Gwen?
That she didn't want anyone to see her doing something in the sky.
Going potty?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Was there anything that you didn't like about Migration?
I didn't like that people were chasing them.
All right. Thank you, Darcy. So, the basic premise of Migration is that every member of this family of ducks wants to fly south to Jamaica for the winter. Every member, that is, except for the father, who's afraid to leave the safety of their little pond. But he ends up being convinced to take the trip to please his family. And from there, it's kind of an episodic family vacation adventure movie. As you can probably guess from that synopsis, one of the basic themes of the movie is facing your fears, which is a pretty common theme in kids' movies, for a good reason. I can't say that Migration does anything particularly new or noteworthy with that theme, but thankfully it doesn't belabor the point either. I did appreciate that it showed that some of the father duck's fears were unfounded, and others were actually legitimate, but that ultimately the reward for facing those fears instead of staying home and hiding from them was still worth it. It also showed the other side of things, where having no fear at all can be detrimental, as there is a group of ducks they meet who are so trusting and unaware of any danger at all that they almost blissfully walk off to their doom. So there is some nuance to the message on facing your fears here, but again, it doesn't really hit you over the head with it or get too deep. One thing that did really stand out to me with this movie was just the family themselves, minus the weird uncle voiced by Danny DeVito, who is mostly there for comic relief, although he did have a few touching moments. But I'm really more interested in the main nuclear family of four, the father, mother, son, and daughter. I just found their family dynamic really wholesome and relatable. Mac and Pam, the parents, don't always see eye to eye. She would like to have some adventure in her life, and he just wants to stay safe. But at the end of the day, you can see that they always have each other's backs. They're also really affectionate with each other and with their kids. In particular, it really stood out to me that more than once the movie showed them all just playing together. As simple as that sounds, it really struck me. Yes, they also argue and have conflicts, as normal families do, but it's always clear that they genuinely all love and care about each other. Even when Mac and teenage son Dax have a big conflict, it feels natural and relatable from both sides. Mac is trying to protect his son and is upset when he doesn't listen and gets hurt. Dax is frustrated because he needs his father to recognize that he's old enough to help and not just be protected all the time. Neither one feels like they're completely wrong or completely right. Neither seems unreasonable or unfair. It's just part of the growing pains that I'm sure all parents and kids go through as the kids grow up and begin to spread their wings a little more. So yeah, the dynamic between the four family members was really the highlight of the movie for me. There's nothing really earth-shattering about it. Just a normal family who love each other and are doing their best to get along. But for some reason, I just found it really refreshing and endearing. As far as whether there are any elements in the movie that Christians should be concerned about or wary of, I really can't think of anything. I would say that there are a couple of elements that parents in general, not just Christian parents, might want to be aware of going in. One is that there are some scenes that might be a little scary for younger or more sensitive kids. That said, Darcy can be a pretty sensitive kid, and she wasn't really bothered by it. The other thing to be aware of is that there is some really cartoony slapstick violence here and there. Again, just something to be aware of. Especially if you have younger kids, you just might want to discuss with them that while it's played for laughs in the movie, it is not in fact funny to hit someone over the head with a shovel. Illumination is pretty well known for making sequels to almost all of their movies. We have all the Despicable Me's and the Minions. The Secret Life of Pets, there have been 2. Sing, there have been 2, and I wouldn't be surprised if there will be more of those. Unfortunately, I think that Migration might be the film that kind of breaks that trend for them because it didn't do that well at the box office. But if they do choose to make a sequel to it, I certainly wouldn't complain, and I'd be happy to see more adventures from this family of ducks. It's not the most memorable or groundbreaking animated film that came out in 2023 by any means, but if you're in the market for a fun, family-friendly, and family-positive film, I think you'll find that Migration is a trip worth taking. And that does it for this short episode of Tune My Heart. Hopefully we'll be back with a longer episode soon. I'm very excited about the next one, so I hope you'll tune in for that. Thank you again for listening, and I hope that you enjoyed it and will continue to support the podcast. Remember that the biggest way that you can support it is just by liking, following, and reviewing wherever you're listening. And of course, sharing it with your friends and family and letting them know that they should listen in as well. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Tune My Heart. Remember, that's TOON. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me at any of those social media sites or via email, tunemyheartpodcast@gmail.com. Your support means a lot to me, and I look forward to continuing to put out more episodes, and I hope that you will come along for the ride and maybe drag a few family and friends along with you.